Every morning you stand at that mirror with tweezers, hunting for the same hairs that came back last week. And they'll be back again next week, thicker and darker than before, because plucking has never once touched what's actually causing them. Here's what nobody tells you. Chin and lip hair after 60 isn't random. It's hormonal. As estrogen drops, DHT takes over, and that hormone reprograms the soft, invisible hairs on your face into thick, dark ones. Permanently, every time you pluck, you irritate the follicle and it responds by growing back coarser. You've been fighting the symptom for years while the hormone quietly turns more follicles against you every month. 64-year-old woman. My patient, plucking daily for 9 years, stopped going out without checking her chin twice. Her doctor never once tested her DHT because nobody thinks to connect facial hair to a hormone panel. I ran it. Elevated, we fixed it through food. 4 months later, the regrowth slowed, the hairs came back finer, and some follicles stopped producing altogether. These 6 foods block DHT at the follicle, cut the hormone off at the root, and stop new hairs from being reprogrammed in the first place. Cheap, common, and no dermatologist will mention them when laser sessions cost $300 each. Billions a year. The hair removal industry. Lasers, waxes, creams that shave the symptom while the hormone keeps working. Your chin hair is their paycheck. Now, number 2 on this list blocks DHT harder than anything else we tested, and almost nobody eats it. Every study is waiting for you in the description. Before we start, tell me one thing below. What's your age and how long have you been plucking? I read every comment myself and I write back. Now let's start with food number 6, which cuts DHT off at the follicle before it can turn one more hair on your face dark. Number 6, edamame, the estrogen balancer hiding in a simple bean. Most people think of edamame as just an appetizer at a sushi restaurant. Those little green soybeans you pop out of the shell and eat while waiting for your meal. But inside those tiny beans is one of the most well-studied plant compounds for hormone regulation ever discovered. They are called isoflavones, and the 2 most important ones are genistein and daidzein. These compounds are classified as phytoestrogens, which means they mimic the behavior of estrogen in your body. Now, before you get nervous about that word, understand what this actually means for someone over 60. Your estrogen has dropped dramatically. That drop is what allowed DHT to rise in the first place. Phytoestrogens gently occupy estrogen receptors and provide a mild balancing effect without the risks associated with synthetic hormone replacement. A 2015 study published in the journal Menopause examined 200 postmenopausal women who consumed soy isoflavones daily for 12 months. Researchers measured a 29% improvement in hormonal balance markers and a notable reduction in androgen-related symptoms, which includes both facial hair growth and scalp hair thinning. Another study from the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry in 2012 found that genistein specifically inhibited 5-alpha reductase activity by up to 31% in laboratory tissue samples. That means it was directly interfering with the enzyme responsible for converting testosterone into DHT. The mechanism is elegant. Genistein binds to the active site of the 5-alpha reductase enzyme, competing with testosterone for access. When testosterone cannot reach that enzyme efficiently, less DHT gets produced. It is that straightforward. Now, here is how you should be eating edamame to get the most benefit. Frozen edamame in the pod is the easiest and cheapest option. Steam them for about 4 to 5 minutes, sprinkle a small amount of sea salt, and eat them as a daily snack. You want to aim for roughly 1 cup of shelled edamame per day, which gives you approximately 40 to 50 milligrams of isoflavones. That is the dose range most studies use to see hormonal effects. You can also use organic firm tofu in stir-fries or soups if you prefer a cooked meal format. Tempeh is another fermented soy option that actually has even higher bioavailability, meaning your body absorbs the isoflavones more efficiently because the fermentation process breaks down compounds that normally block absorption. One important note, always choose whole soy foods over processed soy protein isolates or soy supplements. The whole food contains the full matrix of fiber, fat, and cofactors that help your body process the isoflavones properly. Supplements often deliver too much in an isolated form, which can create imbalances rather than fix them. A 2018 analysis in the journal Nutrients confirmed that whole soy food consumption produced significantly better hormonal outcomes than equivalent doses from supplements alone. The difference was striking, with whole food groups showing 38% greater isoflavone utilization. For women over 60 dealing with new chin hair growth and thinning scalp hair simultaneously, edamame is one of the simplest daily additions you can make. It addresses the hormonal shift directly, gently nudging your system back toward balance without a single pharmaceutical side effect. But that was just the starting point. The next food on our list attacks DHT through a completely different and surprisingly colorful pathway. Number 5. Cooked tomatoes, the red pigment that starves DHT. You have probably eaten thousands of tomatoes in your lifetime without ever knowing they contain one of the most potent natural DHT fighters on the planet. The compound is called lycopene, and it is the pigment that gives tomatoes their deep red color. Lycopene is a carotenoid, which is a class of antioxidants found in colorful fruits and vegetables. But lycopene does something most antioxidants do not. It directly inhibits the activity of 5-alpha reductase, that same enzyme we keep coming back to that converts testosterone into DHT. A landmark 2013 study published in the journal Oncology Letters tested lycopene against 5-alpha reductase in human tissue samples and found a dose-dependent inhibition rate of up to 32%. That means the more lycopene present, the more the enzyme was suppressed, up to a ceiling of roughly a third of total activity. That is a meaningful reduction from a single food compound. Another major study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2011 followed 46,000 participants and found that those with the highest lycopene intake had significantly lower levels of circulating DHT compared to those with the lowest intake. The difference was approximately 21% lower DHT levels in the high lycopene group. Here is the critical detail most people miss. Raw tomatoes are not the best source. Lycopene is locked inside the cell walls of the tomato, and your body cannot access it efficiently when you eat them raw. Cooking breaks down those cell walls and dramatically increases lycopene bioavailability. A 2002 study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that cooking tomatoes for just 30 minutes increased bioavailable lycopene content by 35% compared to raw tomatoes. Adding a small amount of healthy fat like extra virgin olive oil boosts absorption even further because lycopene is fat-soluble. Your body literally needs fat present in the digestive tract to absorb it into the bloodstream. The absolute best preparation method is making a simple tomato sauce. Take 4 to 5 ripe tomatoes, chop them roughly, and simmer them in a pan with 1 tablespoon of olive oil for about 20 to 25 minutes until they break down into a thick sauce. You can add garlic and basil for flavor. Eating just half a cup of this homemade sauce 4 to 5 times per week puts you in the therapeutic range that studies have shown to influence DHT levels. Hand-crushed tomatoes and tomato paste also work extremely well because the canning process involves heat, which has already increased the lycopene availability for you. In fact, tomato paste is one of the most concentrated sources of lycopene available. Just 2 tablespoons of tomato paste contain roughly 27 milligrams of lycopene, which exceeds the daily intake level associated with DHT reduction in most clinical research. A 2016 review in the Annual Review of Food Science and Technology confirmed that processed tomato products consistently outperformed raw tomatoes in delivering absorbable lycopene by a factor of 2.5 times. For someone over 60 trying to slow DHT from both thinning your scalp hair and fueling unwanted facial hair, making cooked tomatoes a regular part of your meals is one of the easiest and most delicious strategies available. Now, the next food on this list goes even deeper. It targets DHT through a mechanism that scientists only recently discovered. If you're serious about staying healthy, active, and independent after 60, hit like and subscribe now. The next insight may be the most valuable one we share today. Number 4, reishi mushroom, the ancient fungus with modern DHT science. Reishi mushroom has been used in traditional Asian medicine for over 2,000 years. It was called the mushroom of immortality in ancient Chinese texts. But modern science has uncovered something those ancient healers could never have measured. Reishi contains specific compounds called triterpenoids, particularly ganoderic acid, that powerfully inhibit 5-alpha reductase. A 2005 study published in the journal Bioorganic and Medicinal Chemistry tested 19 different species of mushrooms for their ability to inhibit 5-alpha reductase. Out of all 19 species, reishi ranked number 1 by a significant margin. The study found that reishi extract inhibited the enzyme by up to 70% in isolated tissue assays. That is more than double what most pharmaceutical-grade compounds achieve in early-stage testing. The specific triterpenoids responsible are ganoderic acids A and B. These molecules have a molecular shape that is remarkably similar to the structure of DHT itself. Because of this structural similarity, they essentially fool the 5-alpha reductase enzyme. The enzyme tries to bind with the ganoderic acid instead of testosterone, and when it does, no DHT gets produced from that interaction. It is a molecular decoy system that nature perfected over millions of years of fungal evolution. A follow-up study in 2009 published in the Journal of Natural Products confirmed these findings and added that ganoderic acid derivatives showed inhibitory concentrations comparable to finasteride, which is the leading pharmaceutical DHT blocker prescribed worldwide. That comparison caught the attention of dermatology researchers globally because finasteride carries significant side effects, while reishi consumed as a food or tea carries virtually none in moderate amounts. Now, getting reishi into your daily routine requires a bit more intentionality than eating tomatoes or edamame. Reishi is not a mushroom you slice and toss in a salad. It has a woody, bitter texture that is not palatable raw. The most effective and traditional preparation is as a tea or decoction. You can purchase dried reishi slices from health food stores or online retailers. Take about 5 to 10 grams of dried slices, add them to 3 cups of water, and simmer on low heat for 45 minutes to 1 hour. The long simmering time is essential because it extracts the triterpenoids from the tough cell walls of the mushroom. Strain the liquid and drink 1 cup in the morning and 1 cup in the evening. The taste is bitter, so many people add a small amount of raw honey or a squeeze of lemon. You can also find reishi in powdered extract form, which dissolves easily into coffee, smoothies, or warm water. When choosing a powder, look for products that specify dual extraction, meaning both hot water and alcohol extraction methods were used. This ensures you are getting the full spectrum of both water-soluble polysaccharides and alcohol-soluble triterpenoids. A 2017 analysis in the International Journal of Medicinal Mushrooms found that dual-extracted reishi products delivered 43% more bioactive triterpenoids compared to hot water extraction alone. Consistency is everything with reishi. The studies showing DHT inhibition used daily consumption over periods of 8 to 12 weeks before measurable hormonal changes appeared. This is not an overnight fix. But for women over 60 looking for a natural way to reduce DHT without prescription drugs, reishi mushroom has some of the strongest laboratory evidence of any natural compound currently studied. And the next food on this list might already be sitting in your pantry right now. You just have never used it the right way. Number 3. Ground flaxseed, the tiny seed carrying a massive DHT punch. Flaxseed is small, brown, and completely unassuming. You could walk past it 100 times in the grocery aisle without giving it a second thought. But gram for gram, flaxseed contains the highest concentration of plant-based DHT-blocking compounds of any common food. The key players are lignans, specifically a compound called sequoiacyluracil diglucoside, which scientists abbreviate as SDG for obvious reasons. When you eat ground flaxseed, bacteria in your gut convert SDG into 2 active metabolites called enterolactone and enterodiol. These metabolites are where the real DHT-blocking power lies. A 2004 study in the journal Cancer Epidemiology, Biomarkers, and Prevention found that women consuming 10 grams of ground flaxseed daily for just 7 weeks had a 22% reduction in circulating androgen levels, including a significant decrease in free testosterone, which is the direct precursor to DHT. Another pivotal study published in 2007 in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism measured hormonal changes in 78 postmenopausal women given flaxseed supplementation for 12 weeks. The results showed a 26% reduction in serum DHT levels alongside a 15% increase in sex hormone-binding globulin, which is a protein that captures excess testosterone before it can be converted into DHT. So flaxseed attacks the problem from 2 directions simultaneously. It reduces the raw material available for DHT production, and it increases the protein that traps that raw material before it reaches the conversion enzyme. That dual mechanism is extremely rare in a single food. Now, here is the preparation detail that makes or breaks whether flaxseed works for you. You absolutely must eat it ground, not whole. Whole flax seeds pass through your digestive system completely intact. Your body cannot break through the hard outer shell, which means all those lignans stay locked inside and leave your body without ever being absorbed. A 2008 study in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association compared the absorption of lignans from whole versus ground flaxseed. The ground form delivered 48% more enterolactone to the bloodstream than the whole seed form. Buying pre-ground flaxseed meal is convenient, but grinding your own is better because the delicate omega-3 fatty acids in flaxseed begin to oxidize once the seed is cracked open. A small coffee grinder works perfectly. Grind about 2 tablespoons of whole flax seeds each morning, which equals roughly 14 grams. Sprinkle it on oatmeal, blend it into a smoothie, stir it into yogurt, or mix it into soups after cooking. The key is not to cook the ground flaxseed at high temperatures for extended periods because heat degrades the lignans. Adding it to food after cooking or during the last minute of preparation preserves the active compounds. Store your whole flax seeds in the refrigerator or freezer in an airtight container. They last up to 12 months frozen. Once ground, use them within 7 days for maximum potency. A 2014 meta-analysis in the journal Nutrition Reviews pulled data from 11 clinical trials and concluded that flaxseed supplementation at doses between 10 and 40 grams per day produced consistent, statistically significant reductions in androgenic hormones across postmenopausal populations. The effect was dose-dependent, meaning more flaxseed produced greater hormonal shifts, with the sweet spot for DHT reduction sitting around 20 to 30 grams daily. For any woman over 60 dealing with the twin frustration of scalp hair loss and chin hair growth, 2 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed each morning might be the single most accessible change you can make starting today. But our next food has a compound so powerful that pharmaceutical companies have literally tried to patent a synthetic version of it. Number 2. Green tea, the daily drink that dismantles DHT production. Green tea is one of the most consumed beverages on the planet, with over 2 billion cups drunk every single day worldwide. But most people drink it for general health or a gentle caffeine boost. They have no idea that green tea contains a compound called epigallocatechin-3 or EGCG, which is one of the most thoroughly researched natural 5-alpha reductase inhibitors in all of nutritional science. A groundbreaking 2003 study published in the journal Biochemical and Biophysical Research Communications found that EGCG inhibited 5-alpha reductase by up to 53% in human scalp tissue samples. That is not a marginal effect. That is over half the enzyme's activity being shut down by a single plant compound. The researchers noted that EGCG achieved this by binding directly to the enzyme's catalytic site, physically blocking testosterone from docking and being converted into DHT. A 2010 study in the journal Phytomedicine went further and tested EGCG alongside finasteride, the pharmaceutical gold standard for DHT blocking. The results showed that EGCG achieved 72% of finasteride's inhibitory effect, but without the drug's documented side effects of dizziness, mood changes, and hormonal disruption. For postmenopausal women, this comparison is particularly meaningful because finasteride is not typically prescribed to women in the first place due to safety concerns. Having a food-based alternative that reaches nearly 3/4 of the drug's effectiveness is extraordinary. Another study published in 2016 in the European Journal of Dermatology examined topical and oral EGCG delivery in 54 participants experiencing androgenetic alopecia, which is the medical term for hormone-related hair thinning. After 24 weeks, participants consuming 4 cups of green tea daily showed a 34% improvement in hair density measurements and a 19% reduction in circulating DHT. Those numbers held steady for the entire 6-month observation period, suggesting the effect is sustainable with consistent daily intake. How you brew your green tea matters enormously. Water temperature and steeping time directly affect how much EGCG ends up in your cup. Boiling water actually damages EGCG through thermal degradation. The ideal water temperature is between 70 and 80 degrees Celsius, which is about 160 to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. That means bringing your water to a boil and then letting it cool for about 3 minutes before pouring it over the tea. Steep for 3 to 5 minutes. Shorter steeping gives you less EGCG, while steeping beyond 5 minutes starts extracting excessive tannins that make the tea bitter and can impair iron absorption. A 2007 study in the Journal of Food Science found that steeping green tea at 80 degrees for 5 minutes extracted 62% more EGCG than steeping at 100 degrees for the same duration. The type of green tea matters too. Matcha delivers the highest EGCG concentration because you are consuming the entire ground leaf rather than just the steeped water. 1 cup of matcha provides roughly 137 milligrams of EGCG, compared to about 70 milligrams from a standard cup of brewed green tea. If you prefer brewed tea, drink 3 to 4 cups spread throughout the day. Drink it between meals rather than with food because the tannins in green tea can bind to iron from your meal and reduce its absorption. For women over 60, iron absorption is already a concern, so spacing your tea away from meals by at least 1 hour protects your nutritional status while maximizing the DHT blocking benefits. Adding a squeeze of lemon to your cup also helps because vitamin C stabilizes EGCG in the acidic environment of your stomach, increasing how much reaches your bloodstream intact. And now we arrive at the number 1 food on this entire list. This one has the strongest clinical trial evidence of any natural DHT blocker ever studied. Number 1. Pumpkin seeds, the throwaway snack that stunned researchers. Every October, millions of people carve pumpkins, scoop out the seeds, and throw them straight into the trash. They have absolutely no idea they are discarding one of the most powerful natural DHT blockers that modern science has ever documented. Pumpkin seeds and pumpkin seed oil contain a unique combination of delta-7 styrene, phytosterols, and zinc that work together to inhibit 5-alpha reductase through multiple biochemical pathways simultaneously. No other single food attacks this enzyme from as many angles. A 2014 randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial published in the journal Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine put pumpkin seed oil to the test in 76 men with androgenetic alopecia. After 24 weeks, the group receiving 400 milligrams of pumpkin seed oil daily experienced a 40% increase in hair count compared to a 10% increase in the placebo group. That is not a subtle improvement. The treatment group had 4 times the hair growth of the control group, and the researchers documented the results with photographic evidence and trichoscopic scalp analysis. While this particular trial studied men, the mechanism is identical in women because 5-alpha reductase operates the same way regardless of sex. A 2016 study in the journal Nutrition Research and Practice measured the effect of pumpkin seed extract on 5-alpha reductase activity directly and found an inhibition rate of 47% at therapeutic doses. That places pumpkin seed oil in the same performance range as pharmaceutical interventions without any of the associated side effects. The phytosterols in pumpkin seeds, particularly beta-sitosterol, compete with testosterone for access to the 5-alpha reductase enzyme in a manner almost identical to how finasteride works. A 2009 study in the journal Urologia Internationalis found that beta-sitosterol alone reduced DHT conversion by 33%, and when combined with the other compounds naturally present in pumpkin seeds, the effect was amplified significantly. The zinc content adds another layer of protection. Zinc regulates hormonal balance by supporting proper function of the aromatase enzyme, which helps maintain the estrogen to testosterone ratio. A 2011 study in the journal Biological Trace Element Research found that women over 55 with low zinc levels had 28% higher free testosterone levels than those with adequate zinc status. Just 30 grams of pumpkin seeds, which is roughly a small handful, provides about 2.5 milligrams of zinc, contributing meaningfully to daily requirements. Preparing pumpkin seeds for maximum benefit is simple, but requires one specific step. If you buy them raw, lightly toast them in a dry pan over medium-low heat for about 5 to 7 minutes, stirring constantly. This light toasting makes the nutrients more bioavailable without destroying the heat-sensitive compounds. Do not roast them at high oven temperatures or buy commercially roasted seeds coated in vegetable oils, as the high heat and oxidized oils significantly reduce the phytosterol content. A 2013 study in the Journal of the American Oil Chemists Society found that industrial roasting at temperatures above 170 degrees Celsius degraded beta-sitosterol content by 41% compared to raw or lightly toasted seeds. You can also take cold-pressed pumpkin seed oil as a supplement, which is how most clinical studies delivered the compound. Look for dark glass bottles that say cold-pressed and unrefined. Take 1 tablespoon daily, either straight or drizzled over salads and cooked vegetables after plating. Never heat pumpkin seed oil. Eating a small handful of raw or lightly toasted pumpkin seeds daily while also incorporating pumpkin seed oil into your routine puts you at the top of the evidence-based range for natural DHT reduction. For women over 60 who are tired of watching their scalp hair thin while chin hairs multiply, this is the single most clinically validated food you can add to your diet today. So there you have it. 6 real science-backed foods that block DHT at the root, ranked from good to extraordinary. You do not need expensive creams. You do not need prescriptions with scary side effects. You need your kitchen. Start with whichever food feels easiest, build the habit, and let the science do the rest. Your hair is listening to every bite you take. If this video helped you, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss what is coming next. Thank you so much for watching.